Hey guys, this is the Apostate of Allah. Welcome back to my channel. Muslims are not allowed to eat a ham sandwich. Pork is forbidden. They need to check labels in the back to make sure if it's kosher or halal, if there's no gelatin in it. They can't have a sip of alcohol. That's a major haram. You go to Jahannam. You can't have alcohol. Yeah, there's something that's halal. That's okay. That's normal in Islam. That you can't question. That you always need to make excuses. And even, I would have to say, innovation. This something that their Prophet Muhammad, the perfect person, the one that they need to emulate, the one that is called the mercy of all mankind, something he did. And what I mean innovation is that they say things to defend what he did that you can't find anywhere in the Quran, the hadiths, or even tafsirs like Jalalain, Ibn Kathir. What is that? That would be child marriage. Many of you are familiar with the fact that Muhammad married a little child bride. He married her when she was 6 and raped her when she was 9. If you're familiar with the sources, is that her father was holding her, Abu Bakr, and Muhammad was like, I had a dream of her that I was going to marry her. He married her when she was 6. And now instead of her father being like, yo, be a good father and be like, yo, you're a creep. Step away. Get away from my daughter. There's no way in Jahannam that you're going to be marrying my baby. What's the matter with you? No. Instead, when she was 6 years old, the hadith described Aisha as being sick. Her hair was falling off. And her mother was shoving her with food to fatten her up, to hand her off to Muhammad. But wait, Aisha, this is what I'm told, she was mature. She was able to handle Muhammad climbing on top of her. She got her period, she hit puberty. I've heard Muslims even say that girls back then matured way quicker than they do now, to the point where they would even show pictures of a full-grown woman and be like, this is how women looked back then when they were 9 years old. But it's not true. And I could tell you how that is a lie. I could also show you how it's a lie that she even hit puberty just using the hadiths. Let's look at them together, just so Muslims don't think that I'm just pulling things out of my own head and I'm making things up.
Sahih al-Bukhari 6130. Narrated Aisha, I used to play with dolls in the presence of the Prophet, and my girlfriends also used to play with me. When Allah's messenger used to enter my dwelling place, they used to hide themselves, but the Prophet would call them to join and play with me. The playing with the dolls and similar images is forbidden, but it was allowed for Aisha at that time, as she was a little girl, not yet reached the age of puberty. Sahih al-Bukhari 5133. Narrated Aisha that the Prophet married her when she was 6 years old, and he consummated his marriage when she was 9 years old, and then she remained with him for 9 years, till his death.
Now this is Surah At-Talaq, which is Surah 65, and then is verse 4. Okay? What I have underlined here is وَلِلَمْ يَحِدْنَ, which means before they've reached puberty. This is a chapter that was talking about how long can somebody, a woman or a girl, can remarry after she's been divorced. Okay? I'm going to read from the Pictal translation. And for such of your women as despair of menstruation, if ye doubt, their period of waiting shall be 3 months, along with those who have it not. And for those with child, their period shall be till they bring forth their burden. And whosoever keepeth his duty to Allah, he maketh his course easy for him. Now remember what I said, what I have underlined here. وَلَيْلَمْ يَحِدْنَ. Remember, this is going to be important because when I go into tafsirs. Well, now that I read Quran verse and I read hadiths, I'm going to go and read tafsirs. And the reason why I'm going to go read tafsirs so nobody can come and tell me, oh, you're just misunderstanding it. So let's see what these very respected, highly regarded Islamic scholars have to say.
All right. Tafsir number 1, Tafsir Ibn Abbas. Let's see what he has to say. And for such of your women as despair of menstruation because of old age, if ye doubt about their waiting period, their period of waiting shall be 3 months, upon which another man asked, O Messenger of Allah, what about the waiting period of those who do not have menstruation because they're too old, they're pregnant, they have health issues? Let's see together. O Messenger of Allah, what about the waiting period of those who do not have menstruation because they are too young, along with those who have it not because of young age? Their waiting period is 3 months. Let's see what Jalalain says. Does he agree with him? As for those of your women who no longer expect to menstruate, if you have any doubt about their waiting period, their prescribed waiting period shall be 3 months. And also for those who have not yet menstruated, because what? Because of their young age, their period should also be 3 months. Both cases apply to other than those whose spouses have died. Whatever, blah, blah, blah. So both these tafsirs now we got Ibn Abbas and Jalalain agreeing with each other. It's before menstruation. So let's go ahead. Let's continue read. Let's see what Ibn Kathir has to say. All right, Ibn Kathir. Let's read what he has to say. The iddah of those in menopause and those who do not have menses. Allah the Exalted clarifies the waiting period of the woman in menopause, and that is the one whose menstruation has stopped due to her old age. Her iddah is 3 months instead of the 3 monthly cycles for those who menstruate, which is based upon the ayah in Surah Al-Baqarah, see chapter 2, verse 228. The same for the young who have not reached the years of menstruation. Their iddah is 3 months like those in menopause. This is the meaning of his saying. Remember when I read the Quran and I said this is important and I underlined it? وَالَّذِي لَمْ يَحِدْنَ, and those who have no courses. That's Islam. So, remember, beginning, I said, eating pork is haram. Having even a sip of alcohol, haram. Big haram, not small haram. You know what else is haram? That also applies to child brides. Let's say a child bride, because that's what fits into today's video, decides on keeping herself from her husband. She doesn't want to have sex with her husband. I put quotations because that's not a husband. That's called disgusting, perverted. What's taught in Islam is that if you keep yourself from your husband, when you're sleeping, the angels curse you all night. So that's also haram. So not only is this little girl now it's being done, it's practiced in Libya, it's practiced in villages in Egypt. I wouldn't be surprised if it's even practiced in cities. It's practiced in villages in Lebanon, it's practiced in Yemen, it's practiced all over the place. This is something that's practiced. Now, here's the thing, before I get anybody's being like, oh,
There are countries here, but they're not Muslims, and they also practice child marriage. Here's the thing though, it's both wrong and both disgusting, and I can say that, but you can't. The reason why you can't is because the difference between them and Muslims that are practicing this is that they are emulating the Prophet, the one that's supposed to be the perfect man with the perfect conduct, the man that's supposed to be a mercy upon mankind. Very different. How many times do I hear online from Muslims trying to defend their Prophet? Well, in England, this is what happened. This girl was betrothed, and this girl was that. Meanwhile, just to go and read it, you realize, wait a minute, he never even touched her. You know? But whatever. Very different. And then you hear, I think, an innovation, because I can't find anything in hadiths. The tafsirs didn't say anything. Oh, but he can't cause harm. Forget about it's like all they care at literally, this is how they view women. They view women as nothing but sex objects, period. So all they care about is the physical harm it may cause from a grown man penetrating a little girl, and not the mental harm it would cause her. That is sick and twisted. Now, Mr. or Mrs. Muslim that's listening to this and you find this disturbing, leave Islam. Because this is what the Prophet that you're following did and made it okay. We have this being practiced. It's not something that's taught by tradition. Because I know I've been grown up, oh, that's tradition, that's culture, not Islam. That's culture, not Islam. When it comes to child marriage, when it comes to spousal abuse, when it comes to any of that stuff, oh, that's culture, not Islam. Only to find out when you read the Quran, when you read the hadiths, when you read the seerah, when you read the life of Muhammad himself, oh, wait a minute, that's actually not just culture, that's literally what Islam teaches. Literally what Islam teaches. Islam abuses women. Islam abuses little girls. Let's not, women want to wear the hijab in Islam so it doesn't sexualize them, so they're not sexual. It does the opposite. Women wearing the hijab, it is a sign that they are being sexualized. Oh, yourself, you are a temptation, a walking temptation. You need to cover yourself. We see in Afghanistan where women can't even talk and like how loud I'm talking. They can get in trouble. Just even between women themselves, they can't do it. And this is not Salafi Islam. This is regular Islam. This is not ISIS Islam. This is regular Islam. And you know that there are little girls over there being abused by grown men, just like their prophet did. Their prophet abused a little girl. And now, over 1,400 years later, we see those actions being copied over and over and over again. And now we wonder why so many people are leaving Islam. The internet is there. It's being exposed. Now, as for these Muslims, again, I'm calling it innovation because I can't find anything where even any Islamic source, authentic Islamic source, not opinion from modern imams, but like from tafsirs and from the Quran itself and from hadiths, because apparently this stuff didn't cross their minds. They didn't care. If it's about harm and you have to wait till a man can't cause harm to a girl, considering the anatomy of a little girl, I guess this means this about Muhammad.
Muhammad, who I think definitionally would be a pedophile, to have done zero damage to Aisha, which is in conforming with the Muslim lantern conditions of, quote, not hurting the girl. In this case, I would say Muhammad's penis would only be able to be roughly 1.8 inches in order to not actually, 1.8, damage this woman. 1.8 inches.
Run away from Islam. Come to Jesus. Peace and grace.